Hello and welcome to FIFAE Talks, the home of football esports. Today, we're going to be taking a deep dive into the mind of one of the most infamous and incredible managers in football manager history, Tery Whenett. How are you doing, sir?
I'm very fine, thank you.
Now, it's going to be an exciting episode because we are, of course, at an event right now. We'll speak more about it as we go on forward. We're going to start off learning about his life, his upbringing, how it was in Germany, how he got into football, how much he likes football, maybe some football debates. Then we're going to get into the football manager side of things, content creation, being a coach, being a manager, and then we're going to get into some spicier questions and the quick fire Q&A at the end will be like one word answers, and then we'll wrap up. So hopefully you guys enjoy it. I think we have to start Germany. How was life like growing up in Germany? What was different?
I grew up in a very rural area, in a little village with about 700 people there. So very calm. I spent a lot of time in nature, playing soccer on the local soccer field. Football field. I have the Zealand podcast still in mind.
He's playing soccer. We say football,
yeah, it's football.
You're
Even in Germany, it's
whatever
football.
you want to call it.
No,
we call it
I've
that.
never called it soccer until right now, so I don't know what's happening. Zealand in my mind. So very, very small, lovely life.
Sure.
Yeah.
And so were you playing football because of was it your parents that got you into it, or was it like friends, siblings maybe?
It was the thing to do. So we had a local football club where I played in. So on a village level, grassroots level, and this is what we did.
And were you gaming much when you were younger, or not really?
Not as a young child, but I think my first game was FIFA 98.
Okay.
My mom brought it from a discounter and then started the gaming phase for me. I gamed a lot, but it's both going outside and gaming. Yeah.
So then how did Football Manager come about then? Because obviously I as well was playing other football games, but it's very specific Football Manager with all the emails and... Yeah,
of course. We had very famous manager games in Germany, one called Anstoß. I think it went to England and was called On the Ball or something like that. I don't know if you know it. Which was from a German studio and which has a very humorous kind of way of
like a different kind of storytelling, basically.
Yes. No deep dive, no tactical.
Just more of a fun kind of one.
Yes. And this is what I played for a lot of years. And then when the new game of the series should come out, they got sued by a competitor, and so it all went down a bit with German manager games, and I didn't want to play the competitor's game. It was EA Fußballmanager because of that lawsuit thing. And so one day I looked on eBay and searched for manager games and found Football Manager completely random. And my first Football Manager was in 2006. Yeah. I played it for one night years earlier when it was still called Championship Manager, because it was on a German games magazine for free. So I played it as a 13-year-old maybe, didn't understand a thing. And
I think that's everyone.
And deleted it on the same evening. But then FM 2006 got me hooked.
Yeah, that seems to be, because I feel like even me myself, like the first time you play it, maybe you're a bit overwhelmed. There's so much to do that is different to normal games. But then when you get into it, you realize, okay, this is like a serious game. Yeah. So for you, when did you start, let's say, making content? Because obviously you've been playing for many, many years now. So.
Yeah, that was 8 years later when I brought two of my best friends to Football Manager. FM 14 was that. And they started to ask questions because you get overwhelmed by the game. So what does a deep line playmaker do? What does setting the mentality do, or whatever? And I couldn't answer the questions properly. So we started to reading everything we could get our hands on. So shout out to every English Football Manager blogger back at that time, especially Cleon. He was my teacher. He wrote very deep dive articles and. So I think I read more about Football Manager at the time than for my university studies. So I have no degree, but I started then FM Zweierkette as the website 2015, because I wanted to put everything I read then out for the German players, which was more niche than it is still today, because the game wasn't sold nor advertised in Germany at that time. So it was just a very small community.
Yeah.
But the articles, the guides that I wrote were very well received. So I started going.
Yeah, I mean, as far as I'm aware, you're like one of the most influential and well-respected guys in the German community. So would you say it's because of the blog posts? Is it like proud for you that people kind of look up to you in your blogs and stuff?
For me, my aim was always to bring the people to the game and help them starting with it. And this was happening right away. So that was a good confirmation for me. And with FM19, the game was then sold in Germany and in German. And then I expected the community to grow. And then I wanted to find a way to get closer to the people because, a lot of people who had the first touch with the game and needed help. And then I decided to start streaming on Twitch. Which was a very, very good decision.
I was going to ask about that. So you started with the blogs, and then, so what made you say, you know what, let me start doing the content live for people to watch?
I had to decide between YouTube and Twitch.
Yeah.
And at that time, storytelling in FM content wasn't as big as it is nowadays. So the classical FM video would be like playing the game, commenting on it, but nothing as advanced as it is now. And I made the experience on my blog that it is super difficult to play the game and make content about it, and not wanting to play the game further and stop playing for making content. And so Twitch was perfect for me because I could play. I had my fixed dates on which I streamed, and I could make content. And
it's more interactive as well. People can ask you the questions directly. And
yes. From my nature, I'm a rather introverted person. So it was for me an experiment to see if it works, and it worked very well.
Yeah, I mean, you're here, so you can't complain. We're here at this event.
That's right. Yeah.
So what would you say has been your proudest achievement? Maybe it's like, either maybe it could be in the game, or it could be an event that you've been to, or something that you organized.
Well, it's been a crazy journey for me personally, because when I started FIFAE, the game wasn't even sold in Germany. No one knew it, and years later, first the game came to Germany with FM19, and then the studio invited me to the presentation in Germany in Leverkusen in the Bundesliga stadium, and that was the first point where I recognized that my work is recognized by not only my small community, but by Sports Interactive themselves. And from there until sitting here with you, I mean, this if you come from, you do it just for yourself, and for a handful of people. To see that level of production we have here, it's insane. It's insane. So I think this is what we will be experiencing
for sure
the following days. This is hard to top.
And of course, you mentioned we are obviously at the FIFA World Cup featuring Football Manager. Talk to me about, I guess, the qualifying process, because from my understanding, the Germany team, they had actual, I guess, trials or a competition for someone to get in. Was that difficult? How was that like?
We had to apply for it, and then 32 people were invited. We had 4 groups of 8 who played in a knockout competition format after doing the draft. And I lost the final in my group, actually. And the 4 group winners went to the final 4.
Okay.
And the winner is Sven, who is here as our head coach. And then he chose me as his assistant manager.
So would you say that, I guess, your years of doing the blogs and helping others, has that helped you in your role as more of an assistant coach?
I think so, yes, because I've learned to see the game through the eyes of a beginner or of someone who is not as familiar with the game as we long-time players are. But I see when I see Sven playing the game, he's a data scientist, so he has a completely different approach to the game. And as a streamer, you learn to play the game fast. You don't use the game in all the extent as he does, for example.
Sure.
So I think we are a good pairing, and
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, the people are saying you're the favourite. So do you feel there might be pressure, there may not be pressure? So obviously, like you said, you were trying to be the manager yourself. Would you say maybe it's one of your goals to try and be like a real life manager one day, or you just like to keep it to the game?
I think I keep it to the game. I managed my sister's football team when I was still in school, and it was great fun.
Yeah.
But due to all life circumstances, I think football manager is the best way for me to live that dream and look at us here.
Again, yeah, that's fair. I completely hear it. That makes complete sense. So obviously you mentioned, like, again, it can be very difficult, the qualifying, and even when you're here, some people may end up, losing. You might even get sacked potentially. How do you deal with setbacks when you're playing FM? Because it can be frustrating when things aren't going your way. Yeah,
I had the case last week. I have an online match running with a good friend of mine, and the frustration is on the one session with me and on the next session with him, especially if we have the direct duels between each other. And you have to keep going. I think this is the only way. When you know FM, you know that these phases come, and you have to live through it. And maybe tweak the tactic a little bit, but I would not delete the tactic completely and build something new, because when it worked in the past,
for sure,
you have to trust the players. You have to trust the process.
The problem for me is I'm not here to compete, because when I play FM, I'll be doing well, I'll be winning games. I'll check my emails. All my players, 8-month injury. Yes. I was making them press a bit too much. I was trying to get game pressing all the way. So maybe it was my fault, I suppose. But I'm used to obviously being able to control the players on the pitch. So it's a bit of a different one, but fair enough. So again, being at the tournament, you've seen some of the players that are here now. Of course, you're familiar with all the players going back 10, 15 years. Who would you say is in your Mount Rushmore? So the 4 biggest names of Football Manager, the guys that like pioneered the game and had the biggest influence.
You mean content creators?
It can be content creators, players, anyone that you think has had the biggest impact on Football Manager. Okay,
that's a very good question. I have to think about it.
You can put yourself in there. You've been doing the blog for a lot of years now.
For me personally, it was Cleon, definitely, with his several blogs he did over the last couple of years. Rashidi Bastanet is one, and both delivered so great insights for me to the game. And how many hats are in Mount Rushmore?
4 okay, Mount Rushmore.
2 more.
Or you can commission it and you can have a 5th one if you want, but I'm not paying for that one.
Okay. There were a lot of people on the SI forums I learned a lot from, which names I don't remember. And
it can be just like even the biggest creators. They don't have to even be good at FM if you want.
Yeah, what I enjoyed is that the German FM community is growing massively. So we have like Junukas and Badeschlappen, who both come here as content creators, which is insane for all of us. So I put them both.
Yeah, so it's your Mount Rushmore. So you can put whoever you want in there. So who would you say maybe is like an underrated either content creator or just Football Manager in general that you think should hopefully in the next years be growing?
Oh, we'll see. I mean, this is the first time we have such a big stage. So I'm very curious and excited about whose name will be up there on top at the end. So and for me, it's very exciting to see how the content creators will do. Especially England is going in the tournament with 4 content creators. So I've made the experience now with Swan. That he has a completely different approach. So I think we'll see.
It's interesting because again, there's so many different countries here that watch football and watch different leagues, so their interpretation of playing the game is going to be so different. In your years of playing, will you say you had like you mentioned you played your friends in the online space. Do you have like a big rival you would say that like you like playing against him, or it's a tough game when you play against him?
Yes, shout out to my friend Nicolas.
Yeah.
We are currently managing in Wien. I'm with Austria Wien and he with Rapid Wien, and that's a tough challenge. And he was one of the guys I brought to FM14, and we back then had a save with in Portugal with Porto. He was Porto, I was Benfica. And every year you've
been going back and forth for 10 years,
every
just
year.
fighting.
And every game you had one up against him, and then he optimized his tactic, and we got every game we played more defensive until one got full out the gegenpress, and then was the better team, and then the other one had to get his tactics right, and this for me is the way to play Football Manager, because nothing compares to playing against another human opponent,
for sure.
Because they have their own minds, they have their own views on the game, they find different strategies than the AI, and so I'm very excited to see how this plays out here, especially with 5 managers managing the same teams.
Yeah. It should be interesting.
Yeah.
So when you're playing, are you one of those guys that is maybe you're more focused on the tactical side, or do you like to play the mind games? Do you like to speak to the person you're playing against and maybe a bit of trash talking in there perhaps?
I'm more of the tactical.
You like to just do my job and I make sure I'm going to win. Okay, that's fair enough.
I think football is played on the pitch, and so you should be.
True, but then you can say you get a bit of a boost, right? You have to take any slight boost you can take. You have to maximize your chance of winning. So I guess it all has is a good balance of things. So for the event, obviously, again, FIFA World Cup featuring Football Manager. Did you do like any sort of, were you like scouting or preparing? Because it's so new, nobody has any idea what the format is going to be. So how did you prepare or practice for that?
I think the focus, especially of Sven, was to get a season done in 9 hours, which is very, very tight. And so maxing out all the actions you have to do to get the optimal result and to fit that into these 9 hours. And the second thing was to look at the possible leagues, seeing if there are any rules that you have to be aware of regarding player registration or whatever. And
Sure, makes sense. So I guess on that note then, we will go into more of a tactical insight and the formations and whatnot. So if you guys are at home, you want to get started, get your pen and paper. We're now going to get the advice of someone that's been doing this for many, many years. He's been there, he's done that, he's got the t-shirt, so he's comfortable. The first thing I have to ask then, pretend that I'm a beginner. What is one piece of advice you would give me when I'm just getting started with my first save?
I think the most important thing is to know and to acknowledge that frustration and Football Manager go hand in hand, especially as a beginner. And you should play your career and not the club you're playing with. Most people want to play with a special club and then maybe get sacked, or it doesn't work out as they expected it to be. And so I always say, play on. You are now without a job, but you will find another job, and maybe one day it will click, like it clicked with Ranieri at Leicester. And I have had so much of those stories all the years I played Football Manager, where you get to know new clubs, you get to know new players, and I think the journey is where Football Manager is best. And so stick to it, ignore the frustration, and go on.
So do you keep the same formation no matter where you go? Like if you're at a title chasing team or a relegation team, do you have your own tactic and you stay there, or do you sort of adjust it depending on who you're playing with?
No, I tend to play quite aggressive, but I like to try out new formations, new player roles, and find a tactic for the team. So for me, it's about learning, about finding new ways to be successful. And so I try to adapt to the team, and
So do you have like one formation that you're really enjoying at the moment that you know this is my go-to one when I need to win games?
What I like currently is 3-5-2. So this is very successful for me at Wien right now. Just recently changed it from 2 strikers and 1 number 10 to 2 number 10s and 1 striker. So to have more people doing the deep runs. So yeah, that's what I play right now.
Is there like a manager that you model your game on? Because obviously 3-5-2, that tends to be something that you see in Italy more so than maybe in England, apart from when Conte brought it.
No, not really. I think in the Bundesliga right now quite a lot of teams are playing the formation.
True.
Yeah, I think it has changed in the game. So when the formation got more popular in real life, the game adjusted a little bit. But I don't mind playing a 4-4-2 if it suits my team as well.
I guess whatever makes you win the games, and you have to see what players you have at your disposal first. So it makes sense. Would you say there's players that, like, let's say wonder kids, that each save, I need to go and get that guy, or do you maybe change it each time?
No, I don't do that. First of all, I don't look up these wonder kids because I want to find the gems myself.
Yeah. And
then I tend to play with smaller teams.
Sure.
So to have a way where you can develop the club, develop the players, and so I had in FM14 Carlos Fierro. He was the striker.
So is that like your favorite player that you've ever, I guess, found from FM?
Yeah, he this was the only FM version where I signed him, or tried to sign him in the save with my friend. He got him. That was very painful for me, but yeah, it is the way it is.
Yeah. Actually, do you know what? I've just thought of one as well, actually. So again, it's been many years you've been playing. Has there been someone that you found on Football Manager and then maybe 2, 3, 4 years later they became like a big name in football?
Oh, plenty, but to think of a name right now.
I can come back to it and you can think about it if you want.
What I like about Football Manager is you get to know players who don't say you a thing, and in the moment you meet them in game, and then you read on the sports news
that they're
and
signing
you see
for
the
a
name
new team
and someone. So for example, now playing in Vienna, as I mentioned, a lot of Austrian players moved to the Bundesliga, and now we have Querfeld at Union Berlin or Verratschnik at Mainz. I wouldn't know what kind of or type of player these would be without Football Manager. And now you have the name and you have the profile in your mind and think, okay, he will work at Union.
Yeah, fair enough. So I'm interested because I can imagine that over the years you've seen so many players coming and going, and even like managers as well. Would you say there are people that maybe they can suffer because of a mentality? Like, is their mentality an important thing, you would say, in terms of you've got your tactics, you've got the formations. How about like the mental aspect? How do you sort that one?
I think the difficult thing is when you're not successful. A lot of people tend to
abandon their tactics.
Abandon everything and then try to build something new from scratch, and that doesn't work as well, and then they get nervous and make bad decisions. So I think the mental side is a very important part in Football Manager. Yeah.
Have you tried to limit yourself in any way? Because again, you've played, I'm sure, hundreds and thousands of hours. Have you maybe done any sort of challenges where you restrict yourself? You say, okay, I can only buy this, or I can only get players from here. Have you done that before?
Yeah, I've done that before.
So what's like the most interesting one that you'd say you've done?
I think it starts with the club you choose.
Okay.
So I currently like to play with clubs that are deeply in debt. So you can't keep your best players.
This is the example of like I asked my landlord to raise the rent because I wanted to hustle. That's what he said. I want to be in debt, and you're gonna watch me get out and make it. Fair enough. And do you manage all the time, or do you sometimes they sack you?
No, most of the time
you get out.
survive,
have you ever been sacked on FM before?
Yes, I have, but it's been a few years.
Been a long time. What's your first reaction when you see that email? Were you like angry at them? Was it like I've wasted my time?
You put the hours in,
Yeah.
I mean, like setting up the preparation, getting all the stuff right, and my favorite sacking didn't happen to me was years back. they did the preparation and then declined to attend the press conference where you as the new manager were presented to the public, and they declined, and then the board sacked him because
straight away he didn't go.
It was important. It was important for the club to have a media-friendly manager.
He didn't meet the requirements. Yeah, that would I personally, I would be rattled, because you've sat there. You've gone through your scout and you've now said, okay, you know what? I'm going to get rid of this guy. I'm going to buy these players. I'm going to implement this. And then you wake up, you've been sacked. And then you have to go and look for a new job. That's an unfortunate one. What would you say maybe is like within the game, like your best achievement? Like, for example, you're playing in Vienna. Like, have you won the Champions League with like a very small team? Or do you stop when you've reached them to a certain level?
Yeah. I think my favorite achievement still is winning the Italian Championship with Atalanta Bergamo in FM20. We did a journeyman there, started in the third division of Germany with 1860 Munich, who have a very good youth academy. Moved to Nuremberg and then moved to Bergamo, where we took a bit of risk because we stepped back at Nuremberg to have better chances to get the job at Bergamo. And this was the first time ever where my tactic instantly clicked, and the club went through the league like
just winning every game, just dominating everybody.
And in a very mental stable manner, so very, very good team. And we won the Italian Championship, and in the second season we were runners-up. Went to the Champions League final, so qualified first time for the Champions League, went to the Champions League final and lost against Real Madrid on penalties. And then lost the Italian Cup final, so...
Ooh, that's a painful one. That's like Leverkusen 2002 times.
Yes,
that's what it's like.
And so my community calls me FeWC Tery, and FeWC is runners-up in Germany. So, and I've won loads of silverware since.
They only remember you for that one.
FeWC Tery.
That's like how Leverkusen was. They were saying about Ballack, right? Because Ballack was always second place Champions League, second place in the league, it's a difficult one for sure.
Yeah, but so it's good to be FeWC manager for this tournament as well. I'm very.
Don't let them call you that. They want to be here. That's right.
Too late.
So obviously, wait. So did it happen like in your personal save, or were you on stream? Or
this was on stream. On stream.
So I was going to ask, like, behind the closed doors, have you ever been tempted to, like, you turn it off and then?
Yeah, of course you're tempted, but you do it for the story, and it has to be special for the viewers. So and I think the real story is always the special story.
If I watch the Champions League final and I'm on stream, I'm gonna say, oh, is that a power cut? Oh, what's the internet is gone. The next day they're gonna see, oh, you're in the final again. How did that happen? I'm not accepting that, bro. You're not calling me second place, nothing. But fair, that's it. So hopefully you guys got some tips there. We're now gonna go into a bit of a quick fire Q&A. So I'm gonna ask you like 10 questions, just bam, 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 and you answer them in one word or one sentence, whichever you want to pick.
Okay.
All right. Let me load it up because it was on a different thing. Okay. So are you familiar with start, sub, sell? Like, I name 3 people and you say, this is 1,
this
is 2.
The concept,
okay, cool. Because they're giving me some Bundesliga ones.
Okay.
Start, sub, sell. Nagelsmann, Tuchel, or Hösler?
That's
tough
a tough one.
Yeah.
I'd start Nagelsmann, bench Tuchel, and I bench Hützler and sell Tuchel.
Sell Thomas Tuchel, yeah?
Yeah.
Is it because of the style of play or what they were winning, maybe?
I like him, but I have to choose one, and so he wasn't as successful as at Bayern as he could have been.
Makes sense. I'll add another one for start, sub, sell. Since you're a Bayern fan, I'll ask you this one. Start, sub, sell, Schweinsteiger, Ballack, Toni Kroos.
Oh, that's easy for me.
Easy?
Schweinsteiger is my hero. So my dad always told me about the heroes of the past, like Beckenbauer, and Schweinsteiger for me like Beckenbauer in my personal life. Ballack I sell, and Kroos I sub.
Okay, fair enough.
If you ask on a German level, maybe Kroos would start, but on
for
Bayern level, it's
achievement. It makes sense.
Schweinsteiger is my hero.
So this is the easy one that they always have to ask this one. Messi or Ronaldo?
I refuse to answer.
He doesn't want to get in trouble. So can I ask you who's the greatest player of all time? Or I can't, maybe it's a different name for that one, or is it one of those two?
I'm so thankful that we had the chance to witness both of them. So if you threaten me to choose one, I choose Messi.
If you don't end up doing the football management, I can recommend you do the politician. Because the way that you're avoiding to answer the Messi Ronaldo, you can do the politics instead afterwards. If you had to eat only one food for the rest of your life, what food would you choose? It can be a German food, it can be anything you like.
Muesli.
Muesli?
Yeah.
Can I get maybe like a bit of elaboration why muesli would be the choice? Is it?
I'm eating it every day, I think. So
okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Works for me.
Are you more of a morning person or night person?
Night.
Yeah.
Night.
Winter or summer?
In between. I like autumn. I like spring.
So you like it like
more summer.
It's warm, but it's not like too hot where you have to be sweating all the time.
Yes, we Germans are comfortable between I think 15 degrees and 25 degrees, and below is too cold. And so of course, for those of us who remember the German team, they were winning trophies from long time back in the day. So who would you say is the best German player in football history? Beckenbauer.
Yeah, easy one. Your dad showed you.
You've
been watching the clips as well of Beckenbauer?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Great influence on German football. Not only on the pitch, but also as a manager.
Also off the pitch, of course. Yeah, good influence for sure. Best dribbler of all time?
Whew.
Any country?
Let's go with Messi.
Yeah, okay, that one.
I mean,
we're starting to see that he did want to say Messi earlier, but he was a little bit like, let me not say it too much. VAR, good or bad?
Bad in the current format.
So it should be improved.
I think we should have challenges for the managers, but not in the current.
Makes sense. Yeah. This is an interesting one. What do you think is the hardest position to play in football, or even for FM? You can pick like a role that you say is the most difficult.
Number 6. Because
you reckon the DM is the difficult.
Yeah. You have to be defensively solid. You have to play the pass, and you have to be mentally able to control the game from the position. You have to have a 360-degree view of the pitch, and I think you.
So on the game, is that something that you look at first? Is that like, let me get my 6 sorted and then I can build around it?
Not necessarily, but this is the position I strengthen immediately if there is someone missing. Yeah.
As a forward myself, I'm going to say scoring goals is still the hardest thing. Personally,
I've scored 3 goals in my whole career, so
fair enough. Then the DM is the most important, and the 6. It makes sense. Who would you say is the best young player in football right now?
Right now, maybe Musiala or Wirtz, from a German perspective.
They're up there, to be fair.
Yeah, I think I like the style of play both have. Especially Musiala, this is something we don't have very often in Germany, and I think it's very special. Sure. And in tight spaces, this is insane. Yeah.
Best stadium in the world. I feel like I know what you're going to go with, but.
That's difficult. I take Maracana because we won the World Cup there, and winning the World Cup is what we are here for.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say Allianz Arena. That's why I said I thought it was the easy one, but fair enough.
Yeah, I like the Allianz Arena, but I think there are stadiums with nice more meaning
and history behind it. For sure.
Yes, and this is what makes the stadium special. But there's so many places, where won trophies in Football Manager. So
it makes sense.
Won the Champions League with Manchester United after taking them over on. I think they were 18th in the league or something like that. And
who was the coach? Ten Hag was the coach at the time?
That's a funny story because I a journeyman again and played with Athletic Club Bilbao, where you only may sign Basque players.
Sure.
And I managed them to get to the Europa League final, and we played against Manchester United.
Oh yeah.
And Manchester United was sitting at 12th or so at the time. I think Antonio Conte was the manager. And then we played them in the Europa League final, and they won. And then they sacked Conte the next season when they were 18th, and then I took over the job. And so I was only able to win the Champions League with them in the first season because they beat me in the Europa League final. Because without that, they wouldn't have qualified for European football at all.
Yeah, but the fans must have said you're a bit of a snake then. You left them to go and win the Champions League with those guys.
You know.
Fair. So then the last question I'll ask you, 5 years time, what are you hoping to be doing?
I hope to be a good dad to my children.
I think that's a very good answer to it. We cannot really argue with that one. There you have it. That was an insight into one of the most iconic minds of Football Manager. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to like it on whatever platform you're on, or if you're listening, come and watch us. We can see our wonderful faces over here as well. We're dressed nice and sharp. Of course, keep up to date with our socials, FIFA.gg, and we'll see you guys in a bit.